He was humiliated and forced to leave his seat, but minutes later, the same flight attendant who had embarrassed him faced the consequences. No one could have predicted what would happen on this flight that would change everything, not only for those on board, but for the entire airline. Alex Johnson, a 16-year-old black teenager, boarded a plane with a first-class ticket given to him by his father as an incentive for his academic performance. Immediately after taking his seat, a flight attendant named Karen Miller approached him, clearly questioning his presence in the premium cabin. Even though Alex presented his ticket, Karen claimed there was a problem with his booking, although it hasn't been specifically verified. Ignoring his protests, she forces him to switch to economy class, leaving Alex humiliated and confused. Before diving into the dramatic developments of the story, let me know where you are watching from. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to support our channel. Karen Miller's attitude and choice of words revealed a clear bias against Alex Johnson, treating him as though he didn't belong in first class despite his perfectly valid ticket. Her sharp tone and disapproving glances were laced with an unspoken judgment that Alex couldn't ignore. Dressed neatly in a collared shirt, jeans, and spotless sneakers, Alex carried himself with quiet confidence, but Karen seemed to view his presence as out of place. Her persistent questioning about his ticket wasn't rooted in procedural checks, but in an unspoken prejudice that left Alex feeling singled out and unwelcome. The incident escalated when Karen returned, her expression colder than before, claiming there was a problem with Alex's ticket and instructing him to follow her. Alex, though surprised, complied politely, grabbing his backpack and walking through the cabin under the curious stares and whispers of other passengers. Once in the galley, Karen delivered her final blow, insisting that Alex's first-class seat was inappropriate and that he needed to move to the main cabin. Her words, thinly veiled with professionalism, carried a message Alex could clearly interpret. She believed he didn't belong. Despite the sting of her actions, Alex maintained his composure. His father had always taught him to handle unfair situations with dignity, often reminding him, "Stay calm, son. The world isn't always fair, but your strength lies in how you respond." Drawing from his father's wisdom, Alex kept his head high and his voice steady, refusing to show how deeply her words had hurt him. Though tempted to argue, he chose not to create a scene, understanding that his dignity was not for her to diminish. As Karen escorted Alex back to a cramped seat in the economy section, the humiliation of being displaced in front of everyone weighed heavily on him. Yet Alex sat quietly, staring out the window, processing the injustice. He reached for his phone and quickly messaged his father, explaining the situation. Though frustrated, Alex held on to the belief that his father would address the matter, and he resolved to turn this painful experience into a moment of strength, knowing this was about more than just him. Karen Miller escorted Alex Johnson from the first-class cabin to a cramped seat in the economy section, her cold demeanor underscoring the humiliation of the situation. As Alex walked past rows of passengers, he felt the weight of their stares and whispers, each glance a reminder of the unfairness he was enduring. Reaching his new seat, sandwiched in the middle of a crowded row, Alex placed his backpack under the seat in front of him and sat down, trying to mask his frustration. The contrast between the comfort of first class and the cramped conditions of economy was glaring. But it wasn't the seat that bothered Alex most. It was the clear message that Karen had sent, treating him as though he didn't belong. Determined not to let his emotions take over, Alex pulled out his phone and sent a quick message to his father, describing the incident. His father, a resolute and fair-minded man, responded immediately, assuring Alex that he would address the issue without delay. Senior flight attendant Mark Collins noticed the tension brewing and decided to confront Karen Miller about her decision to move Alex Johnson to economy. Meeting her in the galley, Mark's tone was calm but firm as he asked, "What's going on with the boy you moved? His ticket was valid, wasn't it?" Karen, initially defensive, shrugged and avoided eye contact. "I just had a feeling he didn't belong there," she replied, her voice tinged with discomfort. Mark's expression hardened as he pressed further. "A feeling? That's not how we operate, Karen. We don't make decisions based on gut instincts or personal biases. If his ticket was in order, you had no right to move him." His words hung heavy in the air, and Karen hesitated, clearly uncomfortable under his scrutiny. Unable to justify her actions with any legitimate reason, Karen muttered vague excuses about protocol and ensuring comfort for all passengers, but Mark wasn't convinced. His disappointment was clear as he reminded her of their responsibility to treat all passengers fairly and respectfully, regardless of personal perceptions. Karen, though outwardly composed, felt her confidence wavering under Mark's steady gaze. The tension between the two lingered as Mark walked away, leaving Karen with a growing sense of unease. She began to realize that her actions, driven by prejudice rather than procedure, might have consequences far beyond this flight. Mid-flight, Karen Miller received a call from the airline's executive office, interrupting her usual routine. The voice on the other end was calm but authoritative, demanding an immediate explanation for her treatment of Alex Johnson. They instructed her to ensure all passengers were treated with respect and emphasized that no further actions should be taken without proper justification. Karen's confidence wavered as she was ordered to prepare a full report upon landing, realizing the gravity of her actions. As the flight neared its destination, Karen Miller's unease grew, and her fears were realized when the captain called her into the cockpit. His tone was firm as he informed her, "Karen, the young man you moved, Alex Johnson, is directly connected to the airline's board of directors." The words hit her like a thunderbolt, and her confidence shattered instantly. She had assumed Alex was just another teenager out of place, never imagining the gravity of her mistake. Karen's face turned pale as the captain continued. You'll need to prepare a thorough report detailing your actions, and I suggest you be ready to explain yourself upon landing." The realization of her misjudgment, paired with the implications of Alex's connection to the airline, left Karen visibly shaken. Her earlier smugness had given way to growing dread. Throughout the remainder of the flight, Karen avoided looking in Alex's direction, but she could feel his composed presence in the economy section. The weight of her actions pressed heavily on her, and she began to grasp how deeply she had underestimated the situation. By acting on bias rather than procedure, Karen had not only humiliated a passenger, but also jeopardized her professional standing, a mistake she would now have to face head-on. As the passengers began disembarking, Alex Johnson waited calmly for the aisle to clear before standing. Gathering his belongings, he walked toward the exit, his steps steady and deliberate. Karen Miller stood at the door, her usual confident demeanor replaced by visible unease. For her face to fly from them, her voice faltering. Alex met her gaze, his expression calm but piercing, and replied, "I'm sure we'll be in touch," before stepping off the plane. Moments later, Karen's day took a turn for the worse. Two uniformed security officers approached her at the gate. "Mrs. Miller," one of them said firmly, "we need to speak with you regarding an incident on this flight. Please come with us." Karen's face drained of color as she followed them, her mind racing. She began to fully comprehend the repercussions of her actions, realizing she had made a grave mistake. Alex Johnson's father, a seasoned lawyer with a strong sense of justice, wasted no time addressing the incident. He escalated the matter directly to the airline's senior leadership, demanding accountability and an investigation into the discriminatory treatment his son endured. His swift action ensured the situation would not be ignored or brushed aside. Meanwhile, Alex reflected on the humiliating experience, determined to transform it into something meaningful. "This isn't just about me," Alex told his father. "It's about making sure no one else has to go through this." His resolve to fight for fairness grew stronger, knowing that standing up to prejudice could spark change. Alex vowed to use his voice and platform to raise awareness about bias in customer service, especially in industries where professionalism and respect should be the standard. This story isn't just about one flight or one person, it's a call to action. Discrimination and prejudice have no place in modern society, especially not in settings meant to serve the public. Stand up for fairness, speak out against injustice, and demand better from those in positions of authority. Together, we can ensure that experiences like Alex's become a thing of the past. Let's work toward a world where everyone is treated with the respect and dignity they deserve.